The year was 1921. On September 4th, a severe tropical cyclone developed, reaching hurricane intensity. By September 7th, it combined with a high-pressure system producing torrential downpour and record rainfall over the entire state of Texas. This Category 1 hurricane brought damaging floods, and the hardest hit was San Antonio. The flood put 9 feet of water on Houston Street downtown, with $19 million in property loss and the death of 50 people. The aftermath of the flood spurred the mid-1920s construction of the Almost Dam 5 miles north of downtown. Plans were also proposed to pave over the storm sewers along the prominent area of the river downtown called Great Bend. Paving the storm sewers was not a popular idea. By 1929, there was much talk about the river. The city had to do something. A cutoff channel was also proposed. That idea met with public approval. However, there was still a push to pave over Great Bend. Wives of prominent businessmen were staunch opponents and managed to kill the idea. But what was to replace it?
So Hugman had an idea, a big idea.
27-year-old architect Robert H. Hugman began thinking about the problem and came up with an idea. He called on Mrs. Lane Taylor, the president of the San Antonio Conservation Society, to share his idea. She endorsed his thinking and set out socializing it with other businessmen's wives, city commissioners, the chambers of commerce, mayor's office, and city engineers.
Robert Hugman clearly was a design genius, and his masterpiece, of course, is the San Antonio Riverwalk. From a technical side, he did 4 or 5 things that are really define the Riverwalk. First, he solved the flood problem that had almost caused the Riverwalk itself to be paved over in the 1920s. He made the Riverwalk walkable. He also made the river itself comfortable and easily navigable. And finally, he was really thinking ahead of his time, I think, in terms of some of the ability of his design to be flexible. Technically, he was brilliant. From an aesthetic point of view, is where his genius really showed through.
So when Hugman began designing the Riverwalk in the 1920s, he really took inspiration from the time that he had spent in New Orleans, which is a city that celebrates its French heritage. And he really thought that San Antonio was missing out on an opportunity to better share its Spanish heritage and build upon its Spanish heritage.
Hugman had spent 3 years living in New Orleans and was impressed with the conservation movement he witnessed there. The preservation of the old world charm, local color, and the character of the French Quarter. He built on that concept and applied this experience to San Antonio.
The Arneson River Theater is a great example of Hugman's brilliance. He also, in my opinion, did some brilliant architectural work. There's 2 prime buildings there, one on the stage, which recalls a portion of a Spanish mission or a Spanish villa, and the one on the other side, which is the concessions building, that to me would look right at home in the Canary Islands.
And then also just a concept of having more like retail opportunities and commercial opportunities along the river.
His plan called for the construction of small shops, apartments, cafes, cabarets, and dance clubs along the riverbanks. Shops would be accessed through footbridges and cobblestone walking paths. Gondolas would glide along the river with strains of music in the air and fantastic shadows cast from street lamps. He named his vision the Shops of Aragon and Romula. His plan presented an opportunity for unlimited development of beauty and interest, the advantages of which included advertising the city and increasing the tourism industry. Within the chaos of the city, he envisioned the serenity of a park at river level.
I think of the Riverwalk as a series of outdoor rooms. Hugman manipulated the scale and used the natural scale of the surrounding buildings to his advantage. He used the curvature of the river to establish vistas. You really have edges no matter where you're looking. You're not typically looking down a long, extended view, so there's a sense of closure The vegetation and the buildings form the walls of the room, and of course the sky is the ceiling, but it is comfortable to humans. It's as if you're in a series of courtyards, and as you move along, each new one is a surprise. This is not accidental. It's actually the key to why this works, in my opinion, and why most people in cities who've tried to copy the Riverwalk fail, because they don't understand the scale.
Channel cutoffs were built to stop the flooding. However, Hugman's design for the shops of Aragon and Romula to create water-level retail development were not possible due to lack of funding. The National Depression of 1929 hit San Antonio hard in 1934. Beginning in 1936, the city began receiving make-work projects to stimulate the economy. Hugman was involved as an architect in several of them. During this time, Jack White, manager of the Plaza Hotel, called on City Hall to see if they would clean up that dirty little river next to his hotel. It was at that meeting Jack White learned of Hugman's concept and got in touch with him. With Hugman's sketches in hand and estimates from the Works Progress Administration, commonly called the WPA, the price tag for the project came in at $380,000. WPA told San Antonio they would need to raise an additional $75,000. A bargain, yes, but the money was just not available. A plan was hatched to raise the necessary funds with a bond. Mr. D.D. Book, a property owner who needed to approve the bond, was quite vocal with his objections and a strong disbeliever in Hugman's vision to create viable commerce along the riverfront. "The river projects will never amount to a hill of beans, and if you ever see more than 2 people walk on the Riverwalk at any time, I'll eat your hat." He was finessed into approving the bond through the aid of drink, and the bond passed. Work began with sidewalks and bridges. Riverwalk construction was completed in 1940, but still the business did not come.
It wasn't until the hotels were built for Hemisphere in the 60s that life really was breathed back into the Riverwalk.
The project finally realized its potential in 1968 when the World's Fair came to San Antonio and business began eagerly populating the Riverwalk. The Riverwalk's popularity has steadily grown ever since. If Hugman were alive today, I'm sure he would be smiling on San Antonio. He lived until 1980 and witnessed his dream come true. He loved the Riverwalk. It was his proudest accomplishment.
The Riverwalk has really shaped San Antonio's development.
In 2014, 9.3 million non-residents visited our city exclusively to see the Riverwalk. And millions more flock to her banks when here for conventions, business, and other travel. $2.4 billion are spent each year on the Riverwalk, supporting more than 31,000 jobs.
Obviously, no one has been able to replicate the magic that is the San Antonio Riverwalk, but its impetus for development and growth in downtown has been undeniable.
History has a funny way of writing itself, with as many twists and turns as the river itself. If a flood hadn't occurred, if Hugman hadn't lived in New Orleans, if the manager of the Plaza Hotel hadn't wanted that dirty little river cleaned up, if the wives of businessmen hadn't objected to paving over Great Bend, if the Conservation Society hadn't endorsed Hugman's plan, if property owners hadn't approved the bond to fund the project, if our nation hadn't fallen in the Great Depression, if President Franklin D. Roosevelt hadn't developed the WPA, if San Antonio hadn't hosted the World's Fair in 1968, we wouldn't be here today with our jobs, businesses, prosperity, and our beautiful Riverwalk, the crown jewel of San Antonio.
He had poured himself into this Riverwalk, just poured himself into it, and to me it's still here. He's still here. He'd be very proud again to see what's continued to be the centerpiece of his life. Now it's the centerpiece of San Antonio.
Robert H. Hugman, a man with a dream and a plan who inextricably impacted the future of San Antonio more than any other person.
He designed that. That was him.
He is remembered with a bust on the Riverwalk. His Riverwalk. Our Riverwalk. Your Riverwalk. The year was 1921. On September 4th, a severe tropical cyclone developed, reaching hurricane intensity. By September 7th, it combined with a high-pressure system, producing torrential downpour and record rainfall over the entire state of Texas. This Category 1 hurricane brought damaging floods, and the hardest hit was San Antonio. The flood put 9 feet of water on Houston Street downtown, with $19 million in property loss and the death of 50 people. The aftermath of the flood spurred the mid-1920s construction of the Almost Dam 5 miles north of downtown. Plans were also proposed to pave over the storm sewers along the prominent area of the river downtown called Great Bend. Paving the storm sewers was not a popular idea. By 1929, there was much talk about the river. The city had to do something. A cutoff channel was also proposed. That idea met with public approval. However, there was still a push to pave over Great Bend. Wives of prominent businessmen were staunch opponents and managed to kill the idea. But what was to replace it?
So Hugman had an idea, a big idea.
27-year-old architect Robert H. Hugman began thinking about the problem and came up with an idea. He called on Mrs. Lane Taylor, the president of the San Antonio Conservation Society, to share his idea. She endorsed his thinking and set out socializing it with other businessmen's wives, city commissioners, the chambers of commerce, mayor's office, and city engineers.
Robert Hugman clearly was a design genius, and his masterpiece, of course, is the San Antonio Riverwalk. From a technical side, he did 4 or 5 things that are really define the Riverwalk. First, he solved the flood problem that had almost caused the Riverwalk itself to be paved over in the 1920s. He made the Riverwalk walkable. He also made the river itself comfortable and easily navigable. And finally, he was really thinking ahead of his time, I think, in terms of some of the ability of his design to be flexible. Technically, he was brilliant. From an aesthetic point of view, is where his genius really showed through.
So when Hugman began designing the Riverwalk in the 1920s, he really took inspiration from the time that he had spent in New Orleans, which is a city that celebrates its French heritage. And he really thought that San Antonio was missing out on an opportunity to better share its Spanish heritage and build.
Auf den hochgelegenen Grasheiden rund um den Großglockner genießen Murmeltiere den kurzen Sommer. Sie leben in festen Familienverbänden mit ihren Eltern. Erst mit 3 Jahren verlassen sie ihre Gruppe, um sich einen Platz in einem anderen Clan zu erkämpfen. Das Hochgebirge ist eine abweisende Welt aus Stein und Eis. Kaum irgendwo ist die Herrschaft der Kälte so streng wie hier. Und doch schaffen es einige am Dach Europas zu überleben. Sie haben gelernt, Tiefschnee, Wind und Eiseskälte zu trotzen. Wer in dieser vertikalen Welt zurechtkommen will, braucht spezielle Fähigkeiten. Denn es ist eine lebensfeindliche Umgebung, über die der Adler seine Kreise zieht.
Is everybody ready? All right, Tom, settle down now.
Hier kann nur ausharren, wer absolut frostsicher ist. Schneehühner können dank ihres flauschigen Gefieders den hochalpinen Winter im Freien überleben. Selbst Temperaturen unter minus 25 Grad sind für sie kein Problem.
Many splendid wonders, my friends. You have found yourself here once again in this moment, live, watching Power Selling 101 on San Antonio Learning Annex Television. Now, I said that as if San Antonio Learning Annex was some kind of television technology, like if it was smell-o-vision or if it was color vision. And I do want to say, in my heart, I do believe that San Antonio Learning Annex Television is an advancement
Salt
of the medium.
TV. It is. It truly is.
I can't quite get into that now because I haven't introduced who I am or what any of this is going on. So allow me to proceed.
Did it. Do it. Get in there, bud.
My name is Michael DeWitt. I am your resplendent host / lead instructor of the Power Selling 101 educational seminar. As always, my experience and expertise is paired with an equal, a rival, one most infernal. I call him Tom. You can call him Tom Parrott. Say hello to my friend
I
Tom
call
Parrott.
myself Tom Parrott. I like that you call me a rival. I'm like the Gary to your Ash Ketchum.
You are the Hugh Jackman to my Christian Bale. You are
You go ahead.
I was going to say, you are the David Bowie to my baby.
I'm the David Bowie to your Freddie Mercury.
That's right. Now, Tom and I, funnily enough, have both shared a bed.
Yes.
With many a women and men in
Yeah.
the 1970s.
Yep.
Much
and we
like,
both have had lightning bolts painted on our faces for much of those encounters.
but we can't quite get into that because although we have explained who we are and sort of what's going on here, we haven't gotten through the full entirety of our introduction. Friends, I welcome you all, my infernal marmots in the student chat, my little marmots watching on Channel 59 in San Antonio. It's so beautiful to have you here. Now I'm going to glance up to the official Power Selling 101 screen and
We
say
got a
hello.
lot of people here. We got a lot of people here ready. We got
That's
Carrot
right.
Flobber. We got WizWorld Live. We got
Oh, my
AC
Lord.
Improv.
Hold me close now. Who else do we have, Tom?
We got Dathrit J. We got Brother Wags.
Ooh, chills down my spine, my friends.
Everybody's a big fan of your pompadour today, Michael.
Oh, thank you very much. I wish I could say this was on purpose. However, I was running late to get into the room 17 here at the San Antonio Learning Annex. So I took a shortcut through a car wash.
You just walked through a car wash?
Shortest point between 2 points.
I've always wanted to do that, actually. I've never done that. I've always been afraid of what happens when they spray the hot wax.
Well, let's just say your fear is founded. However, the silver lining to this is that I got here on time.
Yep.
My hair
And
looks
your
great.
hair looks great.
The
Looks
burns.
like you got hit with that triple soap.
That's right. And here's a funny enough thing. Rusty Greer, former outfielder for the Texas Rangers.
Speaking of rivals, Rusty
right.
Greer.
His cousin, Saul, was getting his car washed
Saul Greer?
Saul Greer was getting his car washed as I physically entered. You know how there's that track on the ground that grabs your tires?
Did they make you stand on the track?
Well, it was a long line. There were about 14 cars ahead of me. So I was sitting there waiting. Well,
Just standing there waiting.
well,
That's very polite of you to wait behind all the cars. That's like one time I got so high I stopped at a stop sign, waited for it to turn green while I was walking.
anyways, to finish the story, Saul Greer was in there. He was 2 cars ahead of me. I was able to make eye contact with him before the foam obscured our shared vision. And I just want to say, yeah, he's doing great. Good guy. He's doing great. Friend of the Sem.
Hey, have you caught up with Frank Catalanato lately?
Frank Catalanato.
Frank Catalanato,
That's
former utility man for the Rangers.
I haven't seen him though. Is that a sentence?
I don't know what he's doing. You caught up with him, but you haven't seen him, which I guess makes sense. Probably via a phone call or a faceless Zoom.
I saw him at a boat waxing. We can't get into this right now, my friends. We are here to educate you and educate our resplendent workshop students who will be joining us in just a moment.
I saw him at a wax boating. Candle shipments. It's my new hustle.
You ship candles, my friend?
I import and export candles. Yes.
Now, are these? Paint a picture for me here. Are these little teacup candles? Or are these full-size, girthy, encased in glass candles?
Oh, these candles got heft. These candles are the kind of candle that, like, you could use them as a murder weapon if you wanted to, and not because of the fire, because of the chunkiness. Not to say you should use about candles for any kind of violence, but I'm just saying, like,
you're saying they have the same girth as a Shiba Inu. They're chunky.
Yeah.
As an overfed Shiba Inu, that's how you would compare the girth of these.
If you saw my candle on a chart, you think that candle, oh, he coming. That's what you think when you see that candle. Are you drinking out of an official Power Selling 101 mug?
That's right. Perfect segue. I am drinking coffee out of an official Power Selling 101 mug. This is the legendary Learning Annex magazine cover with Jim Belushi and myself there in the corner. And you can get that to help support the program by following the instructions in the bottom left corner. Go to Power Selling 101. You'll find our merch store there. The other way you can support this program is by supporting our workshop. Guess who you will meet in just a moment. Don't worry. Relax, my friends. It will happen. But you can support them by sending a Venmo payment to @PowerSelling101. Now, all of the Venmo payments we get there during the course of this program will be compiled and then disseminated equally to our 3 workshop students. Tom and I do not receive any of that money. So if you find yourself enjoying what you're watching, but you have some confusing vendetta against us, and you don't want us to get any of the money, I would definitely do the Venmo.
It's not going into our grubby, greasy little candle-scented hands. My hands smell like pine needle, but just the oil of the pine needle.
Now, is that very similar to pine tar?
No, you'd think it was.
Right.
But pine needle oil and pine tar, very different. Pine tar is more sticky. Pine oil is just, it's oily. It's like if you ever coat your hands in like olive oil or baby oil. Before you're like you're making a pizza, you got the dough proofed. You don't want it to stick to your hands. You put some olive oil or baby oil on your hands.
I've done it to hand mix spaghetti or pasta,
Hand mixing spaghetti, a great way to do it.
I have experienced what you were describing.
Yeah, I mean it's much more that consistency, but it smells like air fresheners. Anyway, my hands smell nice, is what I'm trying to get at, but they're oily. They're real slick. We should probably get into our actual students, shouldn't we? We've been bloviating for a bit.
We should. I just want to say one more quick thing. There's a third way to support what you're watching here, which is to support the Twitch network host, which is the PAC Theater. They're a live comedy theater in Los Angeles. It would be remiss of me to not point out the fact that you can Venmo them directly at PAC-Theater. And that's theater with the ER spelling.
Correct.
Not the RE. That's important.
That's right.
And everything. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, based out of Los Angeles, and theoretically, they could be on track to be reopening soon for indoor live performances. Fingers crossed with vaccinations and COVID numbers and stuff. So if you want to support that theater, Venmo is the best way to do it right now. Excuse me. Or classes if you haven't taken those yet. I think they got some of those coming up.
That's right, my friends. I believe that's all for our introduction.
Yep.
So I think we can move on to this wonderful learning part of our seminar. We, of course, here employ vicarious learning. 3 valiant workshop students are about to join us on screen. The information we share with them will be able to be applied to your own selling habits there in the chat and watching on Channel 59 in San Antonio. So please grab your notes, get them ready. We're about to begin here, and the way we begin is by inviting our very first workshop student, who is...
Stead Fontoon.
Hello, Stead.
Hello, gentlemen. Hi, hello. How are you?
Hello, Stead. It's nice to see you.
Thank you
so much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you for assuming we are gentlemen. Tom and I, let's just say we are a little more rapscallion than you might might initially think.
Did you?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I feel like looking at Stead's Eraserhead style hair, I feel like he's a little bit more of a rapscallion than we might be able to think. Also.
Oh no, I'm a good boy. I'm a good boy. I'm a good boy.
Well, we'll take you at your word. You are our new
All
friend.
we can do.
We've just met you.
Yes.
We are here to serve you.
Yeah.
And the way we do that is by, before we get to your item, I'd like to know a little bit more about you, Stead.
Well, this is really a dream come true for me. This type of exposure is something I've really been looking for, and I appreciate you blasting me out to all of your fans, because I'm trying to start my life. I'm trying to start my life in the entertainment industry. So I appreciate you guys boosting my signal, as it were. Thank you so much.
Happy to signal boost, bud.
Yeah, good luck on your endeavors, by the way. Very difficult business.
Thank you.
As much as we are in the San Antonio Learning Annex, we are annexed by the Signal Boosting Annex.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
yes, thank you.
So tell us about, what you're looking to get out of the old selling process. What are you looking to offload there, pal?
Well, all right. So I brought it's a family heirloom. This is a holographic moose painting.
Oh my gosh!
Whoa!
You see that,
holographic moose image.
Oh
you see, it's very big. It's very big. It's 22 by 30 inches.
I feel like I'm looking at a Nintendo 3DS.
Yeah.
No,
this is popping off the screen without my glasses.
Mm-hmm. This is an old family heirloom, but it's time to part with it as I set my life in Tulsa, Oklahoma on fire to move to the coast. This is part of my leaving process.
Yes, Stead, what we're looking at here is a portrait of a moose held by a man who's lit his old life on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Do I get any points for that?
Look.
Let's go to the chat. Do I get any points for that reference there? Did anyone understand that?
I didn't understand that.
All right. It's fine. You don't have to understand all of them, my friends. Can you, as you twirl that moose back and forth, elucidating the holographic nature of itself, can you tell me a little bit more about what in the entertainment business you are looking to do?
I want to bring back Entourage as both a writer, producer, director, and lead actor. That's my dream. That's my dream.
Now,
and if I have to sell this to have my dream, I will.
And which character in Entourage do you envision yourself as?
It'll be Vinny Chase Jr. It'll be Slight Future. I will be Vincent Chase's son, who's now trying to fight his own fame and become famous on his own.
Okay. I'm just trying to get a full picture here of what you kind of.
It's a great no. Okay, can I give you the pitch? Can I give you the quick pitch? I've been practicing this.
Okay. I mean, yeah, sure. I'm down to listen. I can shift my focus.
So it's 2045.
Right.
Vinny and the boys are all old grumps now, You got Turtle, who's managing his tequila empire. You got Johnny Drama still struggling to get in the business, but now you got old Junior. He's gonna break in on his own, but he's gonna do it without his dad's name. So now, imagine it's sci-fi and it's the biz, and you still got Ari running around causing a muck, but now he's in a little like a hovering rascal scooter, and I think it's a win, and I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna make it happen.
All right. You go ahead.
I'm just saying I'm very excited to see this continuation of the Entourage legacy. The way you've described it so succinctly there, I could see it in my mind's eye, and I'm actually frankly upset that it's not already a thing I could just pop onto my screen. Can you do
Entourage Legacy is a better name than what I had planned, honestly.
What was
Entourage
do you mind if I take that? Do you
is
mind
a
if I
great
steal
name.
that? Yeah.
Please, anything we say during this program is public domain. You're
So
free to use it.
My question is sort of twofold, which is, what do you do about the casting of Ari Gold?
What do you mean?
Well, are you going to get Jeremy Piven to play Ari Gold again?
I damn right I am. I'm moving to the coast, and I'm gonna talk him into it.
All right. Well,
He's gonna win 3 more Emmys.
So you know that he's like kind of persona non grata in Hollywood.
That's
and
right.
has been relegated to performing stand-up comedy as
What
like
is-
an out.
What do the people love more than a comeback kid? You're telling me I plan on having this all done by the end of next year. That by the end of next year, people are going to be just craving a Piven return to form. Is that what you're telling me?
Let's be frank with Stead here.
Yeah.
We actually have very direct experience in this exact subject, Stead. Tom and I worked together on a reboot of The Goods.
Yeah. Live hard, sell hard.
And we had Jeremy Piven signed on to reprise his role as the main guy from the used car place. And when we went to pitch it, let's just say that Jeremy Piven was 20 minutes late because he was just outside the door yelling epithets under the crack of the door.
Yeah. He was late because not only did he go to Starbucks before his meeting, but he also groped every person in line at Starbucks.
Sorry. The epithets that he was yelling under the door were actually things that people were saying to him during that experience at Starbucks. So technically, he was just saying what they were saying to him. They were very, very offensive things they were saying to him. Maybe too offensive. I don't know if two wrongs cancel each other out. I don't know how this works, but we're losing track of our focus.
So do you
here.
want?
Well, I'm just saying. So, like, you have to have if you're gonna work with toxic sludge, you got to be willing to have a hazmat suit. So, like, what's your Jeremy Piven hazmat suit? What's your contingency plan to get
If I
this
can't
comeback
get Piven?
story? No. I mean, you want Piven, so like,
Yeah.
go for Piven,
Oh,
but like, you gotta have
I'm-
a plan. You gotta have a plan to protect yourself.
Oh my.
So I'm
Well,
just trying
I'm
to make
from-
sure you understand.
I'm biracial. Well,
That'll
It
do
was
it.
like a sex thing. It wasn't a race
Right,
thing.
okay. Tom, do you remember
Yeah?
what the head of HBO asked us when we pitched The Goods? He said, "Are either of you biracial?" And we said, "No." And
That's
he said,
true.
He slapped his desk and he said, "Dang it, if you were, I could have given you the deal right now."
I'm that.
So
I'm that.
there is your hazmat suit. That's your contingency plan, my friend. Congratulations.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so you're telling me there's a chance. You're telling me my dream's not destroyed. That I can have Piven and I can have Vinny and the boys all aged up, and I can have my flying car entourage.
I mean, if you got your hazmat suit, you protected, then I think you're probably it's worth a shot. And the good news, is that your holographic moose painting. I almost said horse because a moose is like a horse. Your holographic moose painting there is going to fetch a nice price.
Okay, good. Okay.
I mean, I'm looking at all listings here, right? And there's a lot of stuff. I mean, I'll be frank with you. There's a lot of paintings on here of mooses.
Yeah, but do they do this?
Well, that's the thing.
Is this
that looks better than any moose painting there is on here, and I think that is just great news for you. So, like,
okay, thank you.
We're looking at the low end here. I mean, you can easily sell that for at least, I would say, the best comparable price you got on here. A bare minimum of like $1,000, $1,500. You might even be able to bump it up because if you can do a video like a boomerang in your listing and show
what
the
do you mean,
holographic
like a boomerang,
effects.
like a Australian throwing stick?
No, like on Instagram, where it does the thing where it's like back and forth.
I haven't started my social campaign yet, but there's a thing that does like this.
Yeah.
What if I just hold this in the picture? Can I do this?
Exactly. That's all you got to do. And you got to show the holographic elements. I mean,
I'll take 2 pictures.
I got some stuff here that shows you can get up to $45,000 for a high quality.
$45,000 for this?
Yeah.
I can just make the show myself. I don't need to go to HBO now. I'll just make the show.
The only other thing I would suggest is if you can put it in a nicer frame, because that'll also help you out a lot.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a piece of shit. Huh? This is a bad frame.
It's a bad frame. It's
a
real Jeremy Piven of frames.
Gold. Don't you? I'm sorry. I get very defensive about Jeremy Piven. I'm sorry. I appreciate your help. Thank you so much.
Somebody's got to be defensive about Jeremy Piven in this town.
Mm-hmm.
I understand.
Yeah. You're telling me I can expect $45,000 if I put this thing in a new frame. That's a promise from your mouth.
I mean, I think that's a resplendence guarantee if I ever seen one, Michael.
Fantastic.
Michael, what do you think? You've been awful quiet up there for the past couple minutes.
Well, all I have to say about that, my friend, is you have earned a resplendence guarantee. Give it to you, baby. Congratulations, Stad. I just want to say there are a couple...
Stead.
Congratulations, Stad.
I'm sorry. I'm just no business. Say my name right.
Congratulations,
Ari quote.
I just want to say, as you embark on a career in the entertainment industry, remember where you came from. Remember why you entered this business. Remember that there are things that are worse than passing up a job. Bring your truth to your art, and then your commerce element will at least hit near the mark. You may end up any number of fates in this industry of entertainment in Los Angeles. But I wish upon the good ones to you, my friend. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much.
Best of luck with your sales and your reboot plans.
When you see me on screens, remember Stead.
Now, I normally don't do this, but just for those of you who maybe haven't been watching this program for a year, and you need sort of an expedited understanding of the way my brain works. Portrait of a Lady on Fire was a movie that came out semi-recently, within the last 3 years. Stead had a moose painting, and I said, portrait of a moose, and Stead had said that he lit his old life on fire, so I said, Stead was holding a portrait of a moose held by a man who lit his old life on fire.
Yep.
Now, there's enough words of overlap there that you should have realized it was a reference to Portrait of a Lady on Fire. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, Michael. The only thing foreign film-wise that I'm on my mind these days is Another Round. So Portrait of a Lady on Fire, like I can only handle one subtitled movie in my brain at a time.
I understand, and that's fair. That's fair. I'll be honest, I wasn't thinking about that, Tom, and it probably served me well to consider my audience when I say things. So thank you for that
That's
lesson.
fine.
Tom.
I think Portrait of a Lady on Fire, as AC Improv said in the chat, it is about lesbians. No. And it is French. Oui. And also there's some great moose-related paintings going on in the chat right now. Moose with the Pearl Earring, Moosey Night, Moose Elisa, the Moose Finch, the Moose Supper.
Oh my God.
Portrait of a reference Michael tried to make on fire. Now that's just good ribbon right there.
That
Thank
was
you, Carrot Flobber.
So normally on a live seminar program, you don't want to pause and read the chat for 10 seconds, but it made it worth it when Carrot Flobber's comment came in there. So thank you very much, Carrot Flobber, for saving some dead air time there.
How is it dead if we're reading stuff out loud? Now this is dead air.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to illustrate for you what a pause feels like. By the way, I do want to point something out. I know we have two other guests, and we will get to them. But 3 months ago, we had a new instructor here at the San Antonio Learning Annex. Darren Arton. He is from Belmont, Minnesota. He took 2 classes at Second City, Las Vegas in 1987. And he brought with him to the San Antonio Learning Annex a wonderful course, Impro 101. And it would be a lie if I told you that I didn't take that class. And
Of course you did.
what I learned in this course changed every fiber of my being. I learned that, first off, let me ask you this, Tom. Did you know that every interaction you have with someone on a daily basis is impro?
Yes. And I knew that you were supposed to always just be open to whatever interactions people might give you.
I can't quite get into it now, Tom, but I've been thinking a lot about that course that I took, and coincidentally, I have that long-running program I do called Improvers Unleashed. And I just think it's serendipitous that this course came along in my life, and I already have a class a show whose name is spot on for being an improv show. So I just want to let everyone know that keep your eyes peeled for Michael DeWitt's Improvers Unleashed. We're going to have the nation's top headlining improv performers on. And I can't tell you when or where, but that is coming soon. And I'm very excited about it.
Let's bring on our next guest.
Thank you.
All right, our next guest, our next student, our next person here. It's not somebody from The Goods Live Hard, Sell Hard. It is not Ving Rhames. It is not David Koechner. It is not Catherine Hahn, and it is certainly not James Brolin. It is instead Cynthia.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Cynthia. Is that a European accent I detect?
No, just a beat.
It was sort of like, just a nice, you're pleasant. You got a pleasant energy about you.
I'm in San Antonio. I'm just there's like a tornado warning, so just staying in high spirits.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
They've warned you that a tornado is the tornado impending? Has it begun?
We're on a watch. You didn't hear that?
What's
It's
that?
coming from the west and heading east.
Michael, you got to turn on your weather radio, man.
Well, my radio was ruined on my walk here.
Your weather radio? It's not waterproof?
No, it's not waterproof. Okay, I understand.
You got to
that-
get a waterproof. That's what I'm going to get you for your birthday.
Okay.
I'm going to get you a waterproof weather radio.
Cynthia, you're
You
saying
got to
that
hear.
there's a
We live in
tornado
Tornado
warning?
Alley.
There's a tornado coming.
A tornado watch. We're on watch.
Okay,
We're on watch. It's scary.
That's the serious one, I think. Wait, is it watch or warning? Whatever's the more serious one, that's the one we're on. I always forget.
Whatever's scarier that made my mom call me 5 times. That one.
Yeah. No, I sent my employee home for the night.
Oh.
I usually have an employee right here behind me, Cynthia, but I already sent her home. So
Wow, that is
I'd
chilling
show
to
you,
hear.
but there's no need.
That is chilling to hear that
Interesting.
we are potentially moments away from natural disaster. I hope we're all doing okay here. We're in 3 different locations. I hope
I mean,
all
we
managed
still
to-
have power, so we're fine.
My Zoom is working. I still
Yeah.
have internet. I'm so happy to be here. It's very important.
Wow, Cynthia, thank you for joining us in this time of uncertainty. I have to say, judging by just what I see on screen and judging by the cheeriness in your voice, everything seems to actually be going great. And I'm actually very excited to see how Tom and I can help you on this evening.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm fully here. I just stabbed myself in the eye with a lock of my own hair, but I'm fully in now. I'm gonna stop futzing with my hair. Cynthia, what do you got?
Yes. So I'm not quite a fan of this show, but I'm very excited that my aunt, she gifted this to me, and so I want to sell it and pass it on to someone else.
Great.
So you may have heard there's a show called Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks. I'm saying
Yeah.
that right? Twin Peaks.
Yep. Twin Peaks. It's
Yes.
a good one.
So there's a log lady, and of course, if you're gonna have a log on a very soon to be popular TV show, you don't just have one choice. You have multiple choices. So I have the backup log. This one wasn't chosen. It wasn't round enough, apparently, is the story that I was told. So this is the backup log. It's sitting down here with me and my dogs, very safe. And so a nice bit of pop culture, you know. And so it's pretty sturdy. Hasn't there's no mold or anything like that. It's just been held in my family for the last 30 years. So I figure it's got a lot of had that reboot. So it was given to me by my aunt, so I might as well get it out there. Someone should
Wow.
appreciate it.
Well,
And it
that
is a very angular log. I can see why
Yeah.
they switched it to a rounder one.
We just had a guest who is a workshop student who is planning a career in entertainment.
Oh,
And so it's interesting enough that you have an actual memento here from the set of Twin Peaks, the 90s and 2017 television show.
yes, that's the one. That's the
So
one.
just to catch me up here. So if potentially Catherine Coulson, the actress who played the log lady,
Yes.
had dropped that log in a way where the log had chipped or splintered or had otherwise been defaced by unintentional damage, the log you're holding would have been what we would have seen on television.
Next in line.
Essentially, this is the understudy of the log that was on our televisions.
Right.
There's so many years.
Yes.
The log in the wings.
And unfortunately, it didn't make it, I guess, into the 2017 remake as we had it. But it could have been. It could have been center stage, but shoulda, woulda, coulda. You know.
Wow. I just got a little bit of chills down the back of my spine. I haven't had this actually since Jay Wisnowski. He's a family friend. He's my age. He was second in
Is that
line.
like what is that, like 45 or 27? I don't know your age.
He's an indeterminate age.
Okay.
He was
Michael lives between ages.
He was the backup for the lead of the Revenge of the Nerds remake that never was produced.
Oh.
And I remember my grandmother had put us back in touch, and when he was explaining the story of how he was almost the lead, he was next in line to be the lead in the Revenge of the Nerds remake, I got chills down my spine. Very much like when you were explaining this legend of this log here. Tom, can you log that?
I logged it.
No pun intended. Okay, great, Tom. So how many chills down my spine has that been so far in 2021?
I think we're at 3 now.
Okay.
I might have missed a couple of the last show, as you remember.
Right. Okay, well, that's fascinating. And of course, this is not an aside. This is important and integral to your item because as you're listing this, I want you to remember that this isn't just a log you're going to put on the internet. This is something where if you photograph it in the right light and you have the right title and you pay $1 for the bolded subtitle, your bidders are going to have that same experience I just had. We're going to have chills down the spines of people logging on ebay.com, ebay.it, that's the Italian eBay, ebay.ca. All across the world, you're going to have this happening. And
I mean, if you could smell it, it does. Actually, I feel that it's not down my spine, it's more down my arm, but I have the chill smelling it. So
what's that log made out of? What would you anticipate that log made out of?
I don't think it's pine or spruce. It's definitely sturdy, but you don't want it near fire because it will go right up.
I think it's like an oak.
No, not oak.
And maybe a hickory.
Maybe a hickory.
It does look. I mean, hickory's a good sturdy log, but the problem with hickory is
it smells like Texas before you put wood on a fire to cook meats. So it could be. It could
be a hickory. It could be a mesquite.
Yeah, mesquite maybe. Yes. No, sturdier than mesquite. Sturdier. Okay.
I think hickory is probably a good guess. I'm gonna widen my search net a little bit just so I can get a fuller picture here. If we're assuming that's a hickory log. By the way, the Twin Peaks prop market alive and well. So even backup log, you might be doing great. And might be able to make off with some great money. Michael, I apologize I interrupted you. What were you about to say?
While Tom checks his magical computer just for research purposes,
and it's just a regular computer. Right. It's not like it's not like a magical powered computer. It's just like it's just a laptop. It's just a MacBook.
Oh, I was gonna say, is it a Lenovo? Those are quite nice.
I'm actually rocking an Apple PowerBook from a G5. I sort of jerry-rigged it to make it run on hydroelectric power. Trying to reduce my carbon footprint.
Cynthia, I want to ask you a couple things here. You brought up something that I think was a very vivid portrait in my mind. In fact, it lit my mind on fire. Portrait of a lady on fire. You said that this log smelled like Texas before a barbecue commences. And you brought so many images in my mind, and I want to share some of them with you. What do you think about Texas before Dad lays out a tarp, rubs dishwashing solution all over it, sprays it with a hose, and then all the children in the neighborhood run by on their little bare bellies with this homemade slip and slide, just having the greatest god dang time of their lives. Just that moment before that happens. Texas in that second of a second before that happens.
I don't know if we have just I like to think of myself as a mildly spiritual person. Right. I like to make crafts and things like that. And I like to bring people together. And actually, my time as a child, I, against the wishes of my father, did make a slip and slide out of a tarp with dish soap. It's what happens when you're grounded and you want your friends to come over. You just have the party where you are. So I have a vivid memory of that, of just really opening the gardening hose, being really thirsty and just sipping from it really quickly, and opening up that fresh tarp from Home Depot, just releasing those aromas. And then always Dawn, you have to support cleaning up oil spills. It's not the corporations that do it, it's us. We do that work.
That's right.
And that just really culminates that. And then later on, you're drenched, you're soapy, you're a little sweaty, but who knows, it could just be the water. And then you light that barbecue and you put on that brisket, but you don't get to eat it that night because brisket has to cook for 37,000 hours. So later on you eat it and it's very delicious. But in that time, it's just the memories. I have to sell this. I have to
You
sell
have
it.
to sell this. Because the problem is you're going to always be chasing after that moment. And like, sure, when I was born, my grandpappy started cooking a brisket, and I still haven't touched that thing. And it's been cooking for plumb almost 31 years. But I know I will someday. Mm-hmm. But that's the thing, is like, if you can be released of that brisket-based albatross around your neck, might as well. So get rid of that log, and I'll tell you what, you can sell that log. If we're combining the hickoryness and the Twin Peaksiness, I think you can get that thing out of your hands for at least $1,000. At least.
Oh my gosh, that would buy me so much clay so I could make the earrings I want to then open up my Etsy shop. Oh,
Perfect.
Hold on.
Yeah,
now.
just make sure.
Hold on.
Great.
Okay, hold on now. I'm sorry. We may have not disclosed this ahead of time, but we do not say the E word on eBay Power Selling 101. And do you know which word that is? It's a competitor.
Electric. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can't talk about.
We don't talk about the competitors on eBay Power Selling 101.
Mm-mm.
I know that you can buy used stereo equipment on...
At the pawn shop?
I mean, that's another eBay competitor. You're barking up.
Okay.
You're barking up a real tough tree there, Cynthia. Oh,
There are some pawn shops.
my power just shut off a little bit because I believe that means the storm's coming soon.
Oh no.
It's fine. Something's happening with Cynthia. Oh
Are you
no,
okay, my dear?
Hold. Oh, I'm here. I'm okay.
You're
It's a
gonna
little
be okay.
rattling.
Believe in yourself. Anyway, Cynthia, I think don't tell us what you're gonna do after the fact, but you can make some good cash. I believe in you. That's all I'm here to say.
I can't see your eye because you're wearing glasses, but I think we're doing the same thing.
We're doing the same thing.
Okay.
Imagine you can see my eyebrow, right?
Yes.
I didn't know my eyebrows could do that.
They're
No,
very animated.
It's real. It's kind of unsettling.
You look like you're about to play the youngest child in the reboot of Schitt's Creek. Let's continue here, my friends.
Little baby shit.
Cynthia, thank you for bringing this Hollywood memento on screen with us here. Thank you also for reminiscing with me on some of the very, very defining San Antonio, Texas childhood memories. I also want to thank you for braving a storm watch to be with us here tonight.
Thank you. I very appreciate it, and we're going to get through this, and I can't wait to get this off my hands.
We're gonna get through this. Thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you,
Stay
Cynthia.
safe. Storm's coming.
Now,
I can already tell I blew a light.
Tom, I want to go back a couple of seconds there when
Sure.
you sang like a Civil War soldier.
Did I? I was trying to do like who's that lady who sings "We Gotta Get Through This"? The techno song.
I don't know this song, Tom.
Is that Cher?
You sounded like I'm imagining a group of Civil War soldiers, either side, around a fire. The battles put on pause for the evening, and then you have one of them who's a talented singer, and he's singing with this wavering voice, sort of about the atrocities and the loves that they left behind.
I was actually incorrect. It's not a woman. It's a man named Daniel Bedingfield. Like Natasha Bedingfield, but Daniel. I think they're brother and sister.
I didn't realize that Natasha Bedingfield was part of a brother-sister entertainment duo.
Yes. Daniel Bedingfield. Gotta Get Through This. He is the eldest brother of fellow singers Natasha Bedingfield and Nicola Rochelle. He is from New Zealand.
This is very much like Lily Allen and the guy from
Alfie.
Game of Thrones.
Alfie Allen. She wrote a song about him. The song
right.
called Alfie.
Had
a puppet in the music video. It's all about how Alfie smokes weed and fucks, or jerks off or something.
She called him out on wax. I imagine that album, if it wasn't originally released on vinyl, it was re-released within the last 5 or 6 years.
Oh, it must have been.
Probably for a record store day. They like to do that on record store day. They'll take an album that's very popular that was only released digitally or on CD, and they make a big to-do about it being a Record Store Day exclusive. Now, Tom, correct me if I'm wrong here, but we do have a third workshop student who has so valiantly agreed to be on screen with us here.
That's true. A third student who I think is probably itching to get on screen. They go by the name of Vivian.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Hello, Vivian.
Hello.
Vivian. I'm glad that we figured out how to pronounce your name earlier. I would have just said Vivwan.
Well, I would have been okay with that because I give off good vibes and I believe that we are all one. So I would not be offended by that.
Do you like Italian food? Because I was going to say Vivioni.
Oh, no, that's actually, I'm named for my grandpappy. So I actually prefer to think of it as Vivian. Life lives on.
Yeah.
That was
living beyond, living vividly, living beyond expectations, beyond limits.
Vivian.
That was a very diplomatic way of saying everything I said was foolish. And I appreciate you for deflecting rather than engaging with that directly. Vivian, you, first off, you are wearing some mighty colorful garments there, and they are popping off my screen right now.
Thank you. I earned these colors. I studied under a shaman in Brazil, actually.
Okay, is a shaman do magic? What makes one a shaman?
Well, this guy, he gave me a spiritual experience via the nature's gift to the shaman, ayahuasca. So I learned a lot. I learned a lot from that shaman. So that particular shaman, he led me through a trip through my own mind and soul, and I want to bring that to others. I want to bring my experience of being one with, well, who's to even say, to distinguish this from those, because we are all one.
Tom, I have to say I'm a big fan of Vivian's cadence.
Me too. So deliberate. I really appreciate what you got.
Normally,
you got a lot going on.
I feel like normally people seem to place a higher value on people who speak faster with clear punctuation. But as myself, someone who has my own vocal cadence that is more languid and philosophical, let's say, I'm very in tune with you. I'm in vibe with you, Vivian.
We are vibing as though we are one.
That's right.
We are both deliberate with our words and our intentions and our vibes.
It's fascinating, Tom. I feel like I'm looking in through a metaphysical mirror here. I have never been to Brazil, but I did own the Brazilian pressing of R.E.M's Monster on vinyl. So I feel like there is these connections I'm noticing here, Vivian.
Perhaps I am a familiar relative or friend from a past life or an alternate dimension. Perhaps we were partners in crime in the 1920s Prohibition. We could have been in the same gang. And
well, I would hope that the gang we were a part of was deemed criminal because we stood up for the little guy and we protected the minorities in this country from roving bands of tyrants that are trying to burn down their businesses. I really do hope that we were criminal for the good reasons. Not to get political on this program, but if I could choose my past life, I really would hope that for myself. As I hope we would
I can
all.
see you pulling off that laugh very well.
Well, I like
Sort
to
of
think
Me too, Michael.
a
I
roguish
agree,
vagabond, but who's a man of the people.
I agree. I think that my grandpappy Vivione would have deemed you a wise guy. But
Well-
enough with my philosophy and my Italian heritage. I've come to you for a very specific reason. As
That's
we
right.
were speaking before, Michael, we're both intentional people.
I am very curious about what you have for us,
Well-
Vivian.
Well, I was wondering how I could heal the world. Because obviously I am a healer. I've called to heal. So I got my intentions and my vibes together, and well, I've decided to make something that could bring that positivity to everyone. You can bring home your very own intention by Vivione. Yes,
Now,
I'm using the European pronunciation in Europe. But Vivian is here, and it's going to also give you exactly what you need to take on the world. It's going to give you the vivaciousness, the eons of legacy in front of you. It's going to give you vibrance and help you live a vivid life
you've sold me.
beyond. All right.
You've
We've
sold
got
me.
one. We've
Is
got
there
one. All right.
is there ayahuasca in that perfume?
Legally, no.
But illegally. Just give me a.
Can you do me a favor, Vivian? And can you, Tom is actually recently in the candle shipment business. He's dealing with a lot of scents, mostly car scent related. You said.
Well, pine scent,
Pine
but it
scent.
smells like a car air freshener because it's a tree.
Would you mind spraying a little bit of that in this direction up to Tom's Square? Oh, it's
Oh.
pungent. I even got a little bit this way.
That is, I mean, that is strong stuff.
Yes, it's made obviously
wow.
nature's gift. With nature's gift, ayahuasca.
Oh.
My intentions, which are the most important part, it's infused with some crystals, some
Bless
rose
you.
quartz.
Michael, is your tongue going numb in your mouth?
No, but I feel like I just came up with a great business opportunity, my friends.
I can't feel my tongue.
Listen, Reservoir Dogs, but it's
Down
real
in my
life.
mouth?
I like it, Michael. I think we could get the funding for that pretty easily. I've got a friend in the entertainment industry. Yes, I think that they would be very, very interested. But you know, I did neglect to mention that yes, there is ayahuasca, which cleanses your insides. I guess physically and emotionally, mentally. But also,
Have
you know, it
Have
is.
you ever looked at your hand and thought you wish your family members were there holding your hand?
That's right. That's right. There's actually also peyote in here. So
My dad
it's
used
so
to
really
hold his hand.
it's really going to make you and whoever you spray around you just really go after who they want to be
And
one with
his-
their intentions.
Oh,
His
Vivian,
hand
you're
used to
my
hold
favorite
his
person
hand.
right now. You know that?
I
we should,
do know that.
We should get married
Because we're one.
platonically. Huh?
That's true. You're my favorite person. Tom is also my
Right.
favorite person.
So
And
one
you know
of these
that's
hands is my mom.
Tom, you gotta
Exactly.
you
We're
gotta
all
meet
one.
someone. I gotta introduce you to someone, Tom. Her name's Vivian. Tom,
Vivian.
you gotta meet Vivian right now. Like, she's gonna blow your mind.
Oh, I've met Tom, Michael.
Oh, okay.
I've met
Oh,
Tom. Thank
okay.
you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same. You look a whole lot shinier than you did a few minutes ago.
Oh, thank you. You also look very colorful, and I can feel the love radiating off of your heart chakra. Would you guys
That's so
like?
nice.
Would you guys like to join me for a 7-day trip to the desert in Sedona, Arizona?
Oh, sign me up. Do I have to sign anything? I will sign something.
You do have to sign a waiver. You do have to sign a waiver legally.
I will sign for Tom. I know this guy. He's one of my oldest friends. We've never walked through a car wash together. I've walked through a car wash.
Oh,
this guy is the cleanest guy I know.
That is one of the things we will be doing in the desert. That is one of the exercises that we will be doing for the Vivian spiritual soldier weekend.
Tom, I got you, Tom. Okay, I know you're bugging out right now. You got your own things you're working on right now.
I think you're bugging out,
man.
man.
Peaches of pie right now.
I look up a good smell on the internet.
Here's the thing.
You get 1,999 999.
That's a lot.
That's
a high number, Tom.
You got a good smell. It makes you smell across time and space.
It makes you smell across time and space. That's going to be the tagline.
Smell across time and space.
I'm gonna take us back, okay, right here to 2005, Pasadena City College. Acting instructor Duke Stroud. Never played drunk on stage. Loophole. The man never said anything about HIGH. I'm just saying.
That's smart, Michael. That's
right?
smart. That's smart.
Okay, here's the thing. WizWorld Live just says HGH. And the thing about HGH is if you take HGH, you can actually become better at stand-up, and your whole family can get COVID and you won't get it.
I heard Jeremy Piven did that.
Really?
You don't got to bring up Piven into this.
Listen.
I'm sorry.
I got Vivian, Michael. I gotta go. I think I need a moment. Vivian, good luck. I love you, Michael. I love you. I gotta go love myself, because sometimes I worry if I don't. I don't know what's gonna happen.
It's important to love yourself.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself,
Yes.
my friend. It is way too crazy out there right now. Take care of yourself. Okay, it's just you and I now, Vivian.
This is great.
Okay.
Another satisfied customer.
Vivian, what I want you to do right now is I want you to. I've never
Can
said.
I go in the free? I should go outside.
I've never told anyone to do this before, but I want you to go onto discogs.com.
Oh, it's rain.
And I want
It's
you.
raining.
I want you to create an account on discogs.com. It's the world's largest music database and marketplace. And I want you to sell this stuff you have here, because this stuff is going to do gangbusters. I want you to sell it on Discogs under Lily Allen's vinyl release of the album with the song about her brother Alfie.
Yeah, great.
Is that fucking tornado?
Tom, my friend, I think you've made a mistake, my friend.
Me or you? Or
I
Tom?
think Tom's made a mistake, my friend. I think he's taken the adage to enter the eye of the storm a little too literally here. He may die if he goes into the eye of the storm. Vivian.
Oh no, do you have weather where you are? I'm in Beverly Hills. We've never had any sort of... We sometimes get the Santa Ana winds.
Are you from Beverly Hills?
Is anyone from Beverly Hills? Yes, I am.
I gotta ask you this. Okay. I'm gonna give you 3 albums, and I want you to rank them for me, okay?
Okay.
Make Believe. The White Album. The White Album.
Yeah, I was gonna say the White Album is number 1 and 2. Make Believe is obviously 3.
That's perfect. No one's ever gotten a perfect score on that before.
I've never been asked a perfect question.
God, I wish this was live. I wish we were recording this. I feel like we could do a podcast together, like just us talking like this. This could be a podcast. This could be a Twitch show. This could be, what is it?
Michael, I have a question for you. What is a podcast other than a conversation that you can save for later? Why not listen to the podcast going on right now?
Whoa! Holy shit!
Tom?
I got into the tornado and I got out here.
Where are you, Tom?
What is this?
Well, I did set up some safety precautions.
What is this?
Outside the Whataburger due to my exorbitant finances, due to my investors of Vivian.
There's guys singing about lollipops over here.
It is important. You must have security precautions if you are HIGH and also on anything else.
I didn't do anything else. I just hear there's people that sound so nice.
By on anything else, I meant the land, which is turning wind around. That's how you say it.
Michael, I gotta go. I'm gonna go explore this place. I think maybe we gotta end this show. Because you gotta go be you wherever that is.
My shaman is calling me. I know you can't hear it, but I can.
All right, Vivian. Wow, I'm crashing.
I'll see you next time, Michael.
See you next time, Vivian.
Tom.
Thanks, man.
Wow. Tom.
Oh my God.
Wow, Tom. I have the strongest headache. I believe I am.
Just roll with it. Just if you're in your head, you just gotta go in your head and keep going. Just go lie down. Go lie down in the teacher's lounge, and put on cut a cucumber in half. I know that old Ramsey keeps the cucumbers in the crisper drawer in the teacher's lounge fridge, and you cut them in half and you put it on your eyes and you go.
Tom,
just go.
I'm almost 100% crashed right now, Tom. So everything you're saying, I'm hyper aware of, and I'm realizing the past 10 minutes, all the things we've said are criminally embarrassing.
What are you talking about? Why are you having to be embarrassed
I don't
about?
know where we got the confidence to say all of those things.
What do you have to be embarrassed about? You're doing your head, man. You gotta go with your heart. Okay. You see your chest, that big beautiful chest you got there. I see it. It's white. It's hairless. Take it. Oh, there's a heart beating in that chest.
Oh my gosh. Tom,
and you gotta let that heart be the place that you live.
I need pizza right now. I need
Order
a
some
New York
pizza,
slice
dude.
of pizza right now, Tom.
Go get a Buffalo Wild Wings. They got pizza.
Okay. Tom.
They probably deliver. Or you go to Ifratelli. They
Tom,
got a nice rectangle slice. It's good. It got a lot of toppings.
Tom, I am stuck here at the San Antonio Learning Ags during a storm watch, okay? You are at
Oh, shit, that's right. Oh.
You seem to have been transported to some Candyland version of the San Antonio Riverwalk. So maybe you could teleport.
Oh my God! I didn't even think about it. Look at there's the river. It's right there. Oh my God! Wow. We're not in San Antonio anymore. I don't think.
This actually is a perfect segue because the San Antonio Riverwalk was actually. I don't know if you know the history of the San Antonio Riverwalk, Tom. Have you? How familiar are you with the history of the San Antonio Riverwalk?
Zero.
Zero?
The documentary you played, I didn't watch a goddamn lick of it.
Okay, well,
it's okay.
Here's what we'll do. Since you didn't watch it, Tom, and to give you some time to come down, it seems like whatever got in the most pungent part of the spray that you got was a little bit different than the perimeter of the concoction.
Well, it's ayahuasca, bud.
I just got weirdly confident with my own ideas for 10 minutes.
I think you're allowed to be confident with your own ideas.
We're going to play something.
You got to allow yourself to be allowed. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me.
I'm just talking out of my mouth ass.
We're going to go now. All together, all of us here. None of us are going to leave this. We're going to watch something that will sort of inform us all on sort of the history of the actual San Antonio Riverwalk.
We're gonna watch. Man, I want to watch. I'm gonna go explore. Okay.
All right. Well, you explore. We're gonna watch something here, and now this.
I'm gonna go explore. I'm gonna take off my head. I can't hear you no more. Okay. I'm untethered.
The year was 1921. On September 4th, a severe tropical cyclone developed, reaching hurricane intensity. By September 7th, it combined with a high-pressure system producing torrential downpour and record rainfall over the entire state of Texas. This Category 1 hurricane brought damaging floods, and the hardest hit was San Antonio. The flood put 9 feet of water on Houston Street downtown, with $19 million in property loss and the death of 50 people. The aftermath of the flood spurred the mid-1920s construction of the Almost Dam 5 miles north of downtown. Plans were also proposed to pave over the storm sewers along the prominent area of the river downtown called Great Bend. Paving the storm sewers was not a popular idea. By 1929, there was much talk about the river. The city had to do something. A cutoff channel was also proposed. That idea met with public approval. However, there was still a push to pave over Great Bend. Wives of prominent businessmen were staunch opponents and managed to kill the idea. But what was to replace it?
So Hugman had an idea, a big idea.
27-year-old architect Robert H. Hugman began thinking about the problem and came up with an idea. He called on Mrs. Lane Taylor, the president of the San Antonio Conservation Society, to share his idea. She endorsed his thinking and set out socializing it with other businessmen's wives, city commissioners, the chambers of commerce, mayor's office, and city engineers.
Robert Hugman clearly was a design genius, and his masterpiece, of course, is the San Antonio Riverwalk. From a technical side, he did 4 or 5 things that are really define the Riverwalk. First, he solved the flood problem that had almost caused the Riverwalk itself to be paved over in the 1920s. He made the Riverwalk walkable. He also made the river itself comfortable and easily navigable. And finally, he was really thinking ahead of his time, I think, in terms of some of the ability of his design to be flexible. Technically, he was brilliant. From an aesthetic point of view, is where his genius really showed through.
So when Hugman began designing the Riverwalk in the 1920s, he really took inspiration from the time that he had spent in New Orleans, which is a city that celebrates its French heritage. And he really thought that San Antonio was missing out on an opportunity to better share its Spanish heritage and build upon its Spanish heritage.
Hugman had spent 3 years living in New Orleans and was impressed with the conservation movement he witnessed there. The preservation of the old world charm, local color, and the character of the French Quarter. He built on that concept and applied this experience to San Antonio.
The Arneson River Theater is a great example of Hugman's brilliance. He also, in my opinion, did some brilliant architectural work. There's two prime buildings there, one on the stage, which recalls a portion of a Spanish mission or a Spanish villa, and the one on the other side, which is the concessions building, that to me would look right at home in the Canary Islands.
And then also just a concept of having more like retail opportunities and commercial opportunities along the river.
His plan called for the construction of small shops, apartments, cafes, cabarets, and dance clubs along the riverbanks. Shops would be accessed through footbridges and cobblestone walking paths. Gondolas would glide along the river with strains of music in the air and fantastic shadows cast from street lamps. He named his vision the Shops of Aragon and Romula. His plan presented an opportunity for unlimited development of beauty and interest, the advantages of which included advertising the city and increasing the tourism industry. Within the chaos of the city, he envisioned the serenity of a park at river level.
I think of the Riverwalk as a series of outdoor rooms. Hugman manipulated the scale and used the natural scale of the surrounding buildings to his advantage. He used the curvature of the river to establish vistas. You really have edges no matter where you're looking. You're not typically looking down a long, extended view, so there's a sense of closure. The vegetation and the buildings form the walls of the room, and of course the sky is the ceiling, but it is comfortable to humans. It's as if you're in a series of courtyards, and as you move along, each new one is a surprise. This is not accidental. It's actually the key to why this works, in my opinion, and why most people in cities who've tried to copy the Riverwalk fail, because they don't understand the scale.
Channel cutoffs were built to stop the flooding. However, Hugman's design for the Shops of Aragon and Romula to create water-level retail development were not possible due to lack of funding. The National Depression of 1929 hit San Antonio hard in 1934. Beginning in 1936, the city began receiving make-work projects to stimulate the economy. Hugman was involved as an architect in several of them. During this time, Jack White, manager of the Plaza Hotel, called on City Hall to see if they would clean up that dirty little river next to his hotel. It was at that meeting Jack White learned of Hugman's concept and got in touch with him. With Hugman's sketches in hand and estimates from the Works Progress Administration, commonly called the WPA, the price tag for the project came in at $380,000. WPA told San Antonio they would need to raise an additional $75,000. A bargain, yes, but the money was just not available. A plan was hatched to raise the necessary funds with a bond. Mr. D.D. Book, a property owner who needed to approve the bond, was quite vocal with his objections and a strong disbeliever in Hugman's vision to create viable commerce along the riverfront. The river projects will never amount to a hill of beans, and if you ever see more than 2 people walk on the Riverwalk at any time, I'll eat your hat. He was finessed into approving the bond through the aid of drink, and the bond passed. Work began with sidewalks and bridges. Riverwalk construction was completed in 1940, but still the business did not come.
It wasn't until the hotels were built for Hemisphere in the 60s that life really was breathed back into the Riverwalk.
The project finally realized its potential in 1968 when the World's Fair came to San Antonio and business began eagerly populating the Riverwalk. The Riverwalk's popularity has steadily grown ever since. If Hugman were alive today, I'm sure he would be smiling on San Antonio. He lived until 1980 and witnessed his dream come true. He loved the Riverwalk. It was his proudest accomplishment.
The Riverwalk has really shaped San Antonio's development.
In 2014, 9.3 million non-residents visited our city exclusively to see the Riverwalk. And millions more flocked to her banks when here for conventions, business, and other travel. $2.4 billion are spent each year on the Riverwalk, supporting more than 31,000 jobs.
Obviously, no one has been able to replicate the magic that is the San Antonio Riverwalk, but its impetus for development and growth in downtown has been undeniable.
History has a funny way of writing itself with as many twists and turns as the river itself. If a flood hadn't occurred, if Hugman hadn't lived in New Orleans, if the manager of the Plaza Hotel hadn't wanted that dirty little river cleaned up, if the wives of businessmen hadn't objected to paving over Great Bend, if the Conservation Society hadn't endorsed Hugman's plan, if property owners hadn't approved the bond to fund the project, if our nation hadn't fallen in the Great Depression, if President Franklin D. Roosevelt hadn't developed the WPA, if San Antonio hadn't hosted the World's Fair in 1968, we wouldn't be here today with our jobs, businesses, prosperity, and our beautiful Riverwalk, the crown jewel of San Antonio.
He had poured himself into this Riverwalk, just poured himself into it. And to me, it's still here. He's still here. He'd be very proud again to see what's continued to be the centerpiece of his life. Now it's the centerpiece of San Antonio.
Robert H. Hugman, a man with a dream and a plan who inextricably impacted the future of San Antonio more than any other person.
He designed that. That was him.
He is remembered with a bust on the Riverwalk. His Riverwalk. Our Riverwalk. Your Riverwalk. The year was 1921.